Look, there are only two possible explanations. Either he's trashing the ministerial code, or he's claiming he was repeatedly lied to by his own advisers and that he didn't know what was going on in his own house and his own office. Come off it. He really does think that it's one rule for him and another rule for everyone else.
Strait of Hormuz is now open. Let's make party.
Donald, wake up.
Why did you wake me up? I opened the Strait of Hormuz.
Happy Socialist Sunday, people. Welcome to the Sunday livestream on my left eye. I am your host, Lefty, for the evening. Thanks for joining us. Please hit thumbs up as you join us on stream, rounding up the week's news and events from a socialist point of view. Thanks once again to the Agitator for the pre-stream Yvette Cooper test card. And also for Keith's Fondue Lounge, which we'll be stepping into momentarily. Just warm up here for a few moments though. There's also a poll. It's a stream with a poll this evening. Please do share your thoughts on whether Starmer will resign next week. He's got no room to manoeuvre. He's all out of excuses. He's been caught simply red-handed, as we'll go into a bit further on stream. But will he step down? So there are three options in the poll. Say you aye, as he will step down, finally bite the bullet and resign. Say you nay, and completely without consequence he'll try to carry on as normal, put this whole thing behind him. Or say you nay, and instead he'll sack Foreign Secretary David Lammy. As of course Starmer would like us to think that the blame lies at the feet of the Foreign Office, who, you know, forgot to tell him things that he clearly already knew until earlier this week concerning Peter Scandalson's failure in the security vetting prior to his appointment as US Ambassador. Okay, so far most of you think he won't resign and there won't be any consequences. Very early in the stream though, this will be open throughout. I'll keep up to speed as we go through and bring you the results towards the end. And thanks once again, as per every Sunday, to Herbie Ranger and the Supersonics, Hypersonics. Yes, the background Sunday jazz band. Davina was first in the chats. Doc Davies is in the house as well. Tim Wilton, nice to see you as well. Thanks for throwing up the Palestine flags there. Nice to see the chat filling up with some familiar faces already. And thank you very much to all the current members. This is the latest roster. 175 now. Just trying to get back towards that goal of 200. A few people haven't renewed recently, but thank you to those of you who have, as well as gifted to others. It's a very generous way to support the channel, as well as grow the community, of course. Super chats also available if you're watching live, and super stickers. Super thanks are open if you're watching back later. And don't forget, there's always the Buy Me a Coffee page. You'll find the link for that in the description of any content on the channel. So please do check that out. And whilst you are checking out some of our recent content, if you happen to be on your mobile device, a phone or a tablet, then please hit thumbs up. And depending on the region you're in, it might give you the option to contribute some hype points to the channel, so please do consider supporting the channel in that way if it's available. Only one way to find out though, going up in some quality content. And thank you again to all of the 175 members. As always, we appreciate the support wherever it comes from. Just a few simple clicks of a button, like with thumbs up, etc., and also sharing on social media. Give us a follow there at MyLeftEye UK as well, on Blue Sky, Twitter and Mastodon at the moment. Are you ready for some fondue, people? This week, go over what's coming up on stream. We'll be diving into the lounge in a moment. For what could possibly be the last time, if there's any sense in the world. Of course. And I have to say, despite the problems it would cause for running features, etc. on this very channel, I would have completely no problem whatsoever with Keir Starmer resigning next week. It would be more satisfactory. Whether it will happen or not remains to be seen, so this could potentially be the last Fondue Lounge. They might try and drag it out until the elections or just after the elections, but with the foreboding results that seem to be forthcoming, it seems that he won't be in any better position then than he is now. So even if we had to ditch Keith's Fondue Lounge, Keith's catchphrases, all of the other little bits and pieces that we have referring to the current Prime Minister, we would happily jettison them, although he would likely be replaced like for like by another neoliberal careerist, but we'd still get the satisfaction nonetheless. Right, so let's go into the lounge. Thanks, Herbie. We'll be back with Herbie Ranger and the guys in just a few moments. That's the wrong Keith. Bill? It's the Fondue Lounge. Okay, kick it. This time. Very good. And it's one of the best earworms on the internet as well. would be a sad loss. Shout out again to the Agitator, Agitate for Change. For this scene, you can find a link to his great work in the description of this stream as well. So what's coming up? Well, we'll be kicking off with Keith, well, the defence thereof. It was Liz Kendall's turn on Laura Kussenberg, the Laura Kussenberg show. So we'll be taking a look at that, just the sort of opening part and Liz Kendall. If you want a full analysis, I highly recommend going to either Kevin Logan or No Justice at No Justice MTG's page. They regularly do a full analysis of Laura Kussenberg. Others have tried to rush out to Keith's defence, but there has been further damning evidence revealed that he did indeed know that Mandelson hadn't passed the security vetting. Because, of course, with the previous element of the scandal, his initial appointment in the fallout over that, they did, of course, inadvertently try to pacify reporters, etc., by saying that he'd been, you know, directly involved and seen what was going on and knew everything was okay, etc. And then further down the road, that those very defences have come back to haunt him. So cheery, chirpy Liz Kendall's going to be up to try and convince us that Starmer has some element of plausible deniability. It'll be a first-time watch for yours truly where that's concerned. There was also a counter-demonstration against the far right in Manchester this weekend. I wasn't in attendance myself, unfortunately, but do have some footage of that. As well as evidence of different policing methods, or crowd control methods, should we say, where the far right and the counter anti-fash are concerned. Yeah, we don't want the far right out in Manchester, that's for sure. Especially when you consider that their march took place just yards, a stone's throw away from where the historic Peterloo massacre took place, which is commemorated annually in the city as well, an event that I attend regularly, the commemoration. I'm going to take a look at Stephen Yaxley Lennon, aka Tommy 10 Names, and his latest grift as well. He's got a new appeal. Apparently. And then, of course, we'll be dealing with matters in the Middle East, the ceasefire that never was, the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz that never was, and so on, as America seems to have pretty much put themselves squarely back where they started again in this whole thing, whilst claiming that there are new negotiations going on. Apparently they're sending JD Vance in there again, so that's bound to work. Yeah, Mr. Renter Disaster himself. So we'll be taking a look at that as well. Cute comedy clips in between proceedings as well. Plus, who knows what tangents we might get led onto, because anything can happen on the Sunday live stream. Right, but do get your fill, as I said, of Fondue. This could be the penultimate visit. We usually dive back in towards the end of Sunday live streams. What might be the final time? Let's hope so. He's all out of ground. There's no distance left to run for Keith. But will he cling on with hubris for another few weeks? Who knows? Okay, people. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, they, thems, comrades alike, time to start off with a bit of comedy. We always like to try and start things off light-heartedly before we get into the doom and gloom. Let me see. I think I'm going to play 2 here. I've got a bit of a selection because I do have another longer comedy clip coming up later as we get into one particular topic. For now, though, a couple of short but excellent clips. One from a channel I'm sure you're familiar with, the Hitler Rants parodies. And here he is being informed that the Strait of Hormuz is closed, well, to America. Yet again. And there are links in the description if you want to go and subscribe and stuff, of course.
Nimm's zur Not aus den abgestellten Fahrzeugen, die braucht eh keiner mehr.
Was soll das heißen? Sie können Fegelein nicht finden.
Wir können den Gruppenführer Fegelein nirgendwo finden. Er ist nicht in der Bunkeranlage.
Guten Tag, Frau Junge.
Herr Speer, wie sind Sie denn noch nach Berlin reinkommen?
Einfach war es nicht. Aber ich muss noch einmal zum Führer.
An Ihrer Stelle würde ich damit lieber warten.
Ich will Fegelein sehen! Sofort! Wenn er sich ohne Befehl entfernt hat, ist das Fahnenflucht! Verrat! Bringen Sie mir Fegelein! 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 Fegelein!
Soll der Eid uns daran hindern, selbstständig zu denken?
Das sagen ausgerechnet Sie. Ein Opportunist. Ein rücksichtsloser Karrierist.
Wie bitte?
Shorter one, but always good stuff from Hitler Rants. Definitely worth subscribing. Also want to come across fairly recently. I think I've featured 1 or 2 of these before on streams. This one taking a swipe at rip-off petrol stations. Of course, the overall economic situation at the moment as well from ClickScene TV. Just have to point out as well, obvious reasons, this is AI generated CGI, whatnot, for purposes and reasons, just to cover our backs. And again, definitely worth going and subscribing. Check out the link in the description for ClickScene TV.
Welcome to your local petrol station, the only place on earth where you can watch your entire week's wages evaporate in real time while holding a plastic handle.
Liquid gold? Not quite. We've made unleaded so expensive that a full tank now costs more than the actual car you're putting it into. Check out our digital display. These numbers haven't been reasonable since the turn of the millennium, but we've kept them bright so you can see exactly when you become poor.
Our Pay at Pump tech is designed to reject your card just to force you inside to buy a giant grab bag of hula hoops and a king-size Yorkie. Even the air is premium here. For £2 you get 30 seconds, just enough time to realise our pressure gauge hasn't worked since 1999. Oil prices go up, our prices go up. Oil prices go down, our prices go up. It's simple maths.
Your favourite supermarket shrunk down inside our shop. Yes, we charge a premium for calling it express, but let's face it, it's still cheaper than driving to the real store.
We're a culinary destination.
Where else can you pay premium prices for a triangle of bread and a ham slice that's been under a heat lamp for 2 days?
Join our rewards programme. If you spend £40,000 on diesel, we'll reward you with a cardboard tree that smells like an old woman's handbag.
Our facilities are world class, provided your world is one where toilets are purely decorative and have been undergoing maintenance for 3 years.
Our super premium fuel has special additives. We claim they make your engine last longer, but really they just make your bank account die significantly faster.
It's a team effort. The government takes half the price in tax and we take the other half to ensure our shareholders can afford their second Mediterranean yacht. Treat your car to our Ultrafoam wash. It's essentially an expensive garden hose that ensures it will rain the exact second you pull back onto the road. The petrol station. For the people who don't mind paying 50 quid just to see the low fuel light turn off for 20 minutes.
Like seeing TV. Summing it up very well there. Yeah, go and subscribe.
Socialists. Oh my God.
Okay, Laura Kossenberg first. Just bear with one moment. Hey, Big Jerry, nice to see you. Just got to make a couple of quick adjustments here, people. Should be all good now. Just had a bit of a warning on the YouTube studio, but it's all back. Okay, let's see how Liz Kendall does or doesn't, more importantly, in saying that there's nothing to worry about where Mandelson's security vetting was concerned, or the knowledge that the Prime Minister had at the time. So just the opening part and the Liz Kendall interview, not the full show, like I said. Check out Kevin Logan or No Justice for a full analysis.
A showdown is coming. Tomorrow the Prime Minister faces questions on why he sent his man to Washington despite security concerns about Peter Mandelson's past.
Yeah, he is apparently setting up a session. We'd rather he resigned, but he's going to try and bullshit his way out of this in Parliament. He's already lied in Parliament over this. He's now given himself the opportunity to do it again. We'll be taking a look at that one tomorrow as well.
But on Tuesday, this man, the Foreign Office boss who got the boot for not revealing the full facts, Sir Ollie Robbins, will have his say. This standoff is another embarrassment for this government. This morning, we're joined live by the Tech Secretary, Liz Kendall, Cabinet Minister. We'll talk to her.
You could hear her running a commercial. We're joined live.
About the Mandelson mess and her day job, science and technology. Alex Burkhart is here for the Conservatives and Robert Jenrick for Reform.
It's a bit of it. I mean, I don't watch this regularly, but I'm familiar with the intro that she normally does with the, striding around. It's all about Laura. It's Kossenberg. Fucking stuck up her own arse. But do they normally do this bit where she goes over and sort of stands and looms over the people who are on whilst they sit in silence, and it's like, look, here we've got fucking Kendall and Jenrick and other people, and they just stare at her.
All these parties will face Mega May, that vast set of elections.
They're literally right there, Laura. They know that they can hear you talking about them.
On May the 7th.
Guys, can we disturb you for a wee second?
I've been in Scotland this week on the campaign trail, talking to the most important people of all, voters, and seeing the battle buses, the placards, the promises, and the unplanned events of the campaign as the SNP vies to secure another 5 years in power at Holyrood. And our team at the desk for the next hour this week, Helen McNamara, who for years was in charge of guarding many of the government's secrets, tech leader and AI expert Matt Clifford, and Faiza Shaheen, writer and economist.
Is he any relation to Max Clifford by any chance? They got a green on the panel, at least. Oh, here it is, yeah, the intro. This is it. Stridey. Gussenberg is very important. You're gonna have to speak up, I can't hear you over your suit.
Morning. Let's start, as we always do, with what is making the news. And Downing Street's having to contend with another slew of headlines about Peter Mandelson. The Foreign Secretary's told The Guardian, which broke the story, that the Prime Minister wouldn't have given Mandelson the job if he'd known he'd failed his security vetting. But the Conservatives tell The Independent on Sunday there's no way that Mr Lammy didn't know. The Sunday Times...
Of course he fucking knew, and Starmer knew as well. I'm not entertaining the idea that they didn't for 1 second.
Splashes on Mandelson's company's links to China. Kemi Badenoch tells the Mail on Sunday that Keir Starmer is not fit for office. On a different subject that we'll discuss with Liz Kendall, The Observer warns of the risk of chatbots driving people mad. And here at the BBC, we are leading on the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz as the Middle East conflict continues. So a busy weekend of news. And again, Helen, it's Peter Mandelson, the appointment in the first place and the mess since then causing trouble for this government. To anyone normal, this seems completely insane that the boss of the Foreign Office would have known that Peter Mandelson had failed a security check and didn't say anything. But with your experience of being inside government, I mean, can you explain what might have gone wrong?
I don't know if it's reassuring or not to say it doesn't seem that insane to me, Laura. I mean, there's lots mad about this, but actually the vetting process is usually kept quite separate. It's actually legally quite separate.
No. Like we said, following the last round of furore over Mandelson, Starmer himself said multiple times that he was directly involved in the vetting process and oversaw it. MI6 also knew about this. We're going to see a short clip about that after this. But I hope that McNamara here isn't going to try and play devil's advocate because, as we said on the last stream, the absolute most amount of credit that you can give to Starmer, the highest amount of generosity would be to say that he and his staff are completely and utterly incompetent, which still means that they're incapable and unfit for government. So there's no win from this, whether you buy Starmer's BS or not. But if McNamara is about to, you won't believe what gets overlooked here and there. Isn't it a crazy old world in politics? Whatever she's going to try and say, no, not going to swallow that for one moment.
But there's an Act of Parliament that makes it very clearly not the business of ministers that they're involved in vetting. And I'm pretty sure, but I don't know, because frustratingly, yet again, we don't know. We haven't had all the papers published. We haven't got all the information. But what I imagine happened is that Ollie Robbins, at the point at which he was going through the question about the security vetting back when Peter Mandelson was appointed, sort of thought all the risks with Peter Mandelson were priced in and that his job was to do what the Prime Minister wanted.
It's not this Ollie Robbins' fault, this senior civil servant, or now former senior civil servant, the first casualty of Starmer's latest crisis. Will David Lammy follow? Remains to be seen. But it appears that she's going to try and put this squarely at the feet of the civil service. It's pretty, pretty despicable.
And to then put any mitigations in place to make sure there weren't any security concerns.
I mean, it's worth everybody remembering there had already been a Cabinet Office report looking at Peter Mandelson that had flagged some risks. I mean, Faiza, you were a Labour candidate. You had a bit of a falling out
He was
with
called
Keir
the Prince of
Starmer's
Darkness, for
operation.
example.
From a
Sacked
political
twice
point
before.
of view, what impact do you think this is all having?
Yeah, I think when you step back from the who said what point, this just sends a message again to everyone out there that this is a group of elites that support each other, that help each other regardless of the types of behaviour. And this is really serious. I mean, people were questioning this from the beginning. Like you said, that link to Epstein, notorious paedophile, right? This is really stinks. And I think many people out there won't understand the particulars, but what they will hear is that this is corruption. Starmer said he would make a break from that kind of Tory Boris Johnson way of doing things, but here we are.
And we'll hear from one of his colleagues, Liz Kendall, in just a second or two. But Matt Clifford, you spent most of your working life as an entrepreneur in the private sector. You did then work for a while with the government. What does it tell you about how the government works, or perhaps doesn't work?
Well, I have to say that I think the disappointing thing is, in a way, I think this is the sort of safe space for the system to be obsessed with itself, to be saying, like, what happened when, esoteric rules and, who broke what when. You look around the country, you say we've had 19 years of economic stagnation. We have the highest electricity costs
asking this guy
in Europe.
Fucking what? He's an AI expert. One of the other topics later on the show is artificial intelligence. Caption that freeze frame, by the way. Why do you need his 2 cents on this whole thing? Where does artificial intelligence come into this? You might as well ask a fucking fishmonger.
We have so many challenges and opportunities. And yet I know, having been on the inside, that now for the next X months, this is all that anyone will be doing. And that just, I think, is going to be, sadly, more of the same.
OK, well, all three of you stay with us. We'll be back with you a little later in the programme. Well, one senior MP said to me, it's like we are being haunted by it. Again, Keir Starmer is under the cosh for his decision to send Peter Mandelson to Washington.
Get to Kendall, come on.
This time it emerged that the former minister hadn't passed important security checks that were carried out after the Prime Minister gave him the job. But Mandelson took up his plum position representing the UK to the White House anyway. But Keir Starmer didn't know. And late on Thursday, once he'd found out, a furious Prime Minister sacked the head of the Foreign Office, Sir Ollie Robbins, the one who'd had the info. On Monday, Keir Starmer will give his version of events, but on Tuesday, Sir Ollie, whose friends say he was following the process, will also take questions in public from MPs. It's a face-off. Well, get the popcorn out for tomorrow, but we have the popcorn out for the Science Secretary, Liz Kendall, who's with us this morning. Welcome to the programme. What did Keir Starmer get wrong here?
I think what was wrong was that he wasn't told that the UK security vetting didn't apart.
This is the best they've got. This is the best that they've got as well. Liz Kendall.
Pass Peter Mandelson. I think it was wrong not to.
But he did know, Liz. We know that he knew.
To the Prime Minister. I think it was wrong not just at the beginning, but subsequently, when, as you know, Laura, because you've had many people on your show, that ministers made comments both to Parliament and to the media.
He knew.
And I think that is why
he said it in Parliament.
Sir Ollie Robbins lost the confidence of the Prime Minister and the Foreign Secretary.
But did the Prime Minister get anything wrong?
Well, Keir has already said that it was a mistake to make the appointment, and he has apologised for it. But at the heart of the latest set...
The thing that he personally oversaw and personally pushed through.
...of issues that you will understandably ask me about is that a decision not to say that UK security vetting didn't clear him, but that the Foreign Office took a wrong decision. I think it is really important that he should have been told, and other ministers. And as you know, Keir will be setting all of these facts out before Parliament tomorrow.
The problem with that...
Yes, he's preparing his bullshit as we speak. That's going to be something. That really is going to be something.
...is that a previous report that had been given to Number 10 had already flagged concerns about Peter Mandelson. There'd been back and forth between Peter Mandelson and Downing Street. The Prime Minister had given him the job anyway, So everybody knew there were problems here. You know, the Prime Minister, let me ask you this question. On February the 5th, the Prime Minister said security vetting gave him clearance for the role. Now, when he said that, had he or anyone in his team bothered to check that Peter Mandelson had or hadn't been given a clean bill of health? I mean, that's what he said.
If the Prime Minister had known that UK security vetting had not cleared him...
He did know and intervened.
The appointment would have been withdrawn.
Oh, fuck off. Just how stupid do you think we are, Liz? Really? And he's furious. Yeah, he's furious at Ollie Robbins, isn't he?
It wouldn't have mattered how close that was to the president's inauguration or any of that.
That's easy to say that now.
No, but I believe that because there is no...
How can you believe that? There is no evidence for that yet. A litany, a bounty, a multitude of evidence to the contrary. She doesn't think much for the collective intelligence of the public, does she?
The way that the Prime Minister would have continued with it had he known the facts that he knows now.
And you can say that now, but my question is here, when the Prime Minister stood up after months of controversy around this appointment, having promised the country he would get to the bottom of everything that happened, having been forced by opposition parties to say that he would publish everything, had he not bothered to check what had happened with his security clearance when he stood up and told the country that it had given him clearance for the role?
And that's because he was given this, what's called developed vetting status. I think repeated questions were asked about the whole process. And as I said, Keir will set out more of that tomorrow.
During all of that, it didn't come up that he'd actually failed the initial vetting procedure. And of course, Starmer and the Foreign Office's fingerprints would be all over it being pushed through. Nobody spotted that either. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
To the House.
Well, did he ask the question? Because you've just said repeated questions were asked. If he asked the question, why did he say something wasn't true?
He was told that he'd been granted developed vetting status. That's the sort of the objective of all of this. And if he had known that UK security vetting hadn't cleared him, he would not have made that appointment. I think it's just really important to be clear about it. I think that was...
He handpicked Mandelson himself. He wanted him there. He would move heaven and earth to get him in there. Oh, to us he's just Peter. Ha 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 ha. Jokey jokey. Well, take a look at things now. Not laughing now, are you, Keith?
A failure not to tell him, I think that was wrong at the start, but also, as you know, subsequently when a number of statements were made, not just by the Prime Minister, but lots of other ministers, to the media, but also to Parliament.
But she might as well just sit there saying, please, please let him off. He's not going to resign. Please believe me.
You're very clear that with hindsight, had he known, he would have withdrawn the appointment, and that's perfectly legitimate for you to say that now. But
I think it's really important to say...
Come on, Cussenberg. This is obviously a load of horse shit. This should be so easy for you. This is low-hanging fruit. Really? Come on. You can't give an ounce of credit to anything that she's saying here, surely. Surely. You make over £300,000 a year to do this, Laura. Come on. You gotta crank it up a bit, turn up the heat. Fucking hell.
And you've said it, but what explicitly did Sir Ollie Robbins get wrong? Because the law says... very clearly, we can show people that it's a bit of an obscure clause of the Constitutional Reform and Governance Act. The law says that security vetting is not a matter for ministers. It says it in black and white there.
Of course it's right that ministers aren't involved in that vetting process.
They were.
That's of course right. But I think...
It's whether you say it's right or not, that's the fucking rules, whether you like it or not, and you broke that rule. Fucking hell.
Many of your viewers would think, why wasn't the Prime Minister told?
No, we're not thinking that. We know that he knew. We're sitting here thinking, oh my God, do you think that we came down with the last drop of rain? And just how pathetic and desperate are you? That's what we're thinking. This is all very structured and drawn out. They'll have rehearsed the tactics for this interview, and no matter what comes up, your viewers, she's going so far as to tell the viewers what they're thinking, which is the opposite of the truth. Just the sheer hubris of it.
About what UK security vetting said. Why wasn't he told that the Foreign Office had made a different decision?
No, we're not thinking
and
that.
I think that's
we're
at
not
the
thinking
heart
that either.
Of these latest
but maybe the law's wrong. But Sir Ollie Robbins' allies might say he was following the law. He wasn't
really
allowed
important
to
here
tell what
was that the Prime Minister was.
Balls to all this with Ollie Robbins for a moment, Kussenberg. You need to really get onto the fact that Starmer knew that he'd failed the vetting. That's the very nucleus of this thing. That is the thing that should bring him down. Don't dance around it. Don't take Liz Kendall seriously for one moment and get distracted in this standoff that's going to happen, apparently, between Ollie Robbins and Starmer. I mean, come on.
Not told that. The Foreign Secretary was
Why
not
didn't
told
he
that.
ask, though? This was one of the most controversial decisions this government has made.
Because
why didn't he ask at the time and in the many, many months subsequently when we and others have been reporting on this for a long time and journalists asked this question back in September? And Keir Starmer still didn't ask?
Well, repeated questions.
Just can't stand the way that she's sitting there and keep the phony concern while the questions are being put to her. It's really getting my hackles up.
Were asked by Number 10 about the vetting process, and they were told he got developed vetting status. And if they'd have known that, that he hadn't been cleared by UK security vetting, he wouldn't have gone ahead with the appointment. And the Prime Minister is a man.
That's at least the third time that you've said that now. My goodness, what a time to be alive. We'll just carry on. I was a little dumbstruck there. Apologies for the dead air. But this is what listening to this kind of crap just does to anybody with at least a modicum of intelligence.
Honesty and integrity. He has told the public and Parliament everything he knew based on the facts he was told at the time.
Well,
but the one thing we must remember through all of this is at the heart of it is Peter Mandelson and his failure to tell the truth about his relationship with Epstein, and women who've been trafficked and abused. And for me, this is what I'm angry about.
Oh, quit with the crocodile tears.
The Prime Minister has done more to tackle violence against women and girls
don't start
than any
now.
Prime Minister in my lifetime.
But isn't the fact that Epstein's victims ought to be at the heart of this precisely why Keir Starmer's team should have been absolutely all over this? They should have been checking more thoroughly what happened with the developed vetting process. And
just a whole set of dodgy bastards, and you've been found out. You're bound to rights now. And the absolutely synthetic display of concern that Liz Kendall's trying to display here is beyond pathetic.
They didn't. They've told us that.
And I think that they did ask repeated questions, but they were told he'd got that developed vetting status.
So was he lied to? Was the Prime Minister lied to?
Well, it was wrong not to
No, he wasn't,
tell
Laura,
the Prime
because he
Minister.
knew the whole time.
You will have to, the media and MPs, I'm sure, will ask all of these questions in the House, but also to Sir Ollie Robbins when he appears before the Foreign Affairs Select Committee. And you will also know that Yvette Cooper has actually ordered...
Well, he's appeared before committees. Before, we're going to see this after this interview. Yeah, back when Scandalson was last in the news, this came up. And there's further damning evidence against Starmer there.
An urgent review within the Foreign Office about everything that's happened and the information that was given, particularly to the Foreign Affairs Select Committee, because we want to get this right.
Just lastly on this.
Well, it's a bit late for that, Liz. I wouldn't get your hopes up on getting this right, as you put it. I would, say that horse has bolted. It probably was never there in the first place the moment that Starmer insisted that he had to have the Prince of Darkness himself as the UK ambassador to the United States of America.
The rules for ministers say explicitly that if inadvertently a minister has said something that's not true in Parliament, they ought to go and correct it as soon as possible. The Prime Minister was told this on Tuesday. It's now Sunday. It's going to be nearly a week. That's not as quick as possible, is it?
I think one thing we've learnt from this whole torrid episode
are things that just reinforce what we already knew about you, that you're a bunch of careerist liars who are beholden to the lobbies and the establishment and the powers that be. You only got into politics to line your own pockets and those of your business partner friends. You don't give a hell or a damn about local communities and concerns for the working class. Is that the sort of thing that you mean that we've learned this week?
Is the need to get the facts absolutely clear and right. That's really important. I certainly want it as a member of the government, but the public, much more importantly, want that, which is why the Prime Minister on Monday, tomorrow, will go to the House.
OK, let's then talk about your day job, Secretary of State. We've talked a lot on this programme about the potential social media ban for under-16s. We know that that decision has not been made yet, so we want to talk about some of your other ideas that you're looking at, because maybe haven't been discussed that much.
Is that it? Is that it? They're going to move on to mobile phones for kids now? Social media? Fucking hell. Fucking hell, Kussenberg. Is this what over £300,000 a year buys you in terms of investigative journalism? You know, I've been able to find several examples of things that directly contradict what Liz Kendall said days before you even conducted this interview. And I've put it out on YouTube with my excellent viewers, of course, quality streaming, but just comparing size of platforms and, should we say, salaries, etc. But Laura Kussenberg, no, with all of her might, and all of the BBC research team as well. Can't find the examples that I'll be sharing with you shortly. They might potentially come back onto it, but we'll carry on with the clip for now.
Prime Minister said a couple of days ago that addictive scrolling mechanisms, the part on your phone where you can't put it down because you're getting video after video, he said they need to go. So are you considering stopping companies like TikTok or Instagram having those features at all?
So I think this is precisely what the consultation has been looking at, not just the issue of should we have, raise the limit of the age so you can't have social media under 16, but crucially, and I think this is actually much broader than what's happened in Australia or other countries, is to look at the root causes of parents' concerns, which is the addictive nature, the doom scrolling, whether there should be curfews overnight, and whether there should be restrictions or age limits on all of those fundamental features. And tomorrow we are hosting an event with the NSPCC precisely about online safety in a world of AI.
So are you considering banning or stopping tech companies?
Yes, for those for young people. That is as well, because there's two ways you could look at this. One is the sort of...
So it sounds like we're going to be going to caption that as well. There's the real Liz Kendall caught in freeze frame. God. There's something of the night about that, isn't there? Almost forgot my original point. We're going to be going the same way as Australia with social media ban for under 16s appears to be the way of it.
Ban for social media for the under 16s. The other is to look at all of those other features that are at the heart of what parents are concerned about and looking at whether there should be clear age restrictions on that. I should also say we need to look seriously about how effective those age limits are and whether we should have what's called highly effective age verification measures, which are already used for issues like pornography websites, whether we should have much more stringent age verification measures. Because the issue is not, let's be clear here, not if we're going to act, but how. And you've raised the issue on this programme before. In fact, I remember it was just after I'd been appointed, you had a whole programme about AI chat.
I think we've got better things, bigger things to think about, you know, when you've got Liz Kendall on.
Bots, and we are going to bring them under the Online Safety Act. We've already legislated.
Yes, online safety is important. I don't want anyone coming back at me about that either. But very swift turn away from the matters that really matter at the moment.
To say that AI chatbots are brought under the Online Safety Act in terms of what's illegal, and we will...
AI chatbots, like the ones that you use on your social media. And like, what? So you're saying that when Keir Starmer posts on Twitter, that's actually Keir Starmer? And he'd go, yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. Yeah, we'll throw shade back at it nonetheless. But it's a bit duplicitous, isn't it?
Also bring them in for what's harmful for children and people.
You referenced there, and a lot of viewers will remember the dreadful case of an AI chatbot that a mother, Megan Garcia,
so I don't think she'll be relieved now that they've moved on from Mandelson. It doesn't look like they're going to go back onto that.
Her son Saul to take his life. There they are. People will remember. It was a very moving interview. You're talking there about being tougher on chatbots for children, but are you considering banning AI chatbots for under 16?
We are certainly looking at whether there should be those age restrictions overall, as well as the individual features. And I think the key thing here is AI chatbots were already covered under the Online Safety Act if partially, if they were user to user, or if they do like...
Well, you know, this isn't AI. Or pre-recorded, because I directly interact with people in chat. That's how you know, even about comments about whether this could be AI. Meta. No, this is real. This is live.
Search like ChatGPT,
but
it was the ones that weren't covered, and it was partly the issues that you raised on this
programme.
We've
got a lot more soul than Liz Kendall as well, that's for sure.
We went through that with a fine-tooth comb and have been clear. We want to make sure they're properly covered.
Some people might wonder, though, for adults, there are restrictions or recommendations on the amount of alcohol you should drink or whether or not you should smoke. And the issue of addictive tech is not just something that affects kids. And you've put out screen time recommendations for children with the government.
They all vape now. Kossenberg, get with it. Fucking hell.
Consider doing the same for adults?
Well, I'm trying to certainly do my own limits on my own screen time, trying to reduce how much time I spend.
What is it then? Is it
5 hours 22 minutes last week? That's got to come down.
Your average daily use?
Fucking hell, I should try being a YouTuber.
So, yes. I mean, I think for adults, it is a matter of giving them all the information. I'd like to see whether we can make it much easier and simpler for adults.
For example, if you're short of time, one of the easiest ways to keep up with events in Iran is through the series of Lego videos and rap music videos that have been being put out, because a lot of them are certainly more accurate than what the BBC's been pumping out, and we will come on to BBC propaganda on Middle East reporting again later in the stream.
Adults to sort of reset their algorithms, you know, to stop you getting more and more information if you don't want that. It's a matter of choice, but for children,
I can recommend some channels to you, Liz.
And they are protected. But
some
I would
accounts
also
to follow.
say we do have to prepare children for a life online, because that is part of our world today. So we need to think, if we did put in age limits, how do we actually prepare children for this world that they are experiencing? I've seen a lot in my own constituency in schools where teachers are helping children to understand.
I mean, in many ways, although it's different in terms of graphic user interface, but in terms of interacting with people, chatting with, I know it's different, and there's targeted advertising and those sort of markets that you have to consider now. But even if you hark back to the early days of internets like Social Connection, AOL Online, for example, Yahoo Chat, things like this, later there were a whole myriad of platforms for that, where you just log in, a couple of minutes later you're chatting with people all over the world. There are many of the sort of similar risks as there were, but no, not with targeted ads, like I said. But it doesn't rule out, you know, there's always going to be, unfortunately, dodgy people online, and so on and so forth. My overall point is that, aside from the issue of targeted advertising and addictive scrolling or whatnot, the issues and therefore solutions are somewhat comparable to when that came up in the early 90s, as I'm sure it did. You know, it moved on from games consoles are turning your kids into psychopathic killers and they're addicted and they're going to do this, and then it was, oh, the internet's going to turn your kids into psychopathic killers and they're going to get addicted to this and that. And what was it before then? You'd fucking Rubik's Cubes and yo-yos.
And where does this information come from? What's misinformation? What's disinformation? What can you do? How can you report things? But
I just guess good parenting overall would be the best solution, of course. One of the best and most obvious solutions.
Prime Minister and I met with the big tech companies this week, and it was a very blunt conversation to say, you are saying that you are doing all of these things, but parents don't think it's working and they don't think it's enough. So what else are you going to do?
And just lastly, there are also enormous opportunities from artificial intelligence for the economy and for public services and all sorts of things. And this week you announced £500 million of taxpayers' money for sovereign AI, so to back British development of this. But compared to the budgets of...
Are you sure it's not a bubble? Are you sure there's not an AI bubble that might burst down the road and all of the investment that goes with it will go as well?
Big AI companies in America, you know, talk about hundreds of billions of dollars. It's a drop in the ocean, isn't it?
Let me say firstly, it's because I believe Britain is world leading in AI and that we can seize these...
Fuck. From what I've seen the last few weeks, it's Iran.
Opportunities to give people more jobs, to bring more into the economy and to tackle some of the biggest challenges we face as the world. That is why I want people to feel safe in the tech world.
What are you doing with your arms?
And we are creating the SOV AI fund, which is to back British businesses. It's not just the 500 million, it's unlocking the door to the strength of the state here. It's the speed of venture backed by the weight of the state.
What sort of language is this other than boardroom bollocks?
so that we can also offer people fast access to visas for their top talent, access to compute, which is what those companies want, because we believe we need more control over this vital technology. It's going to shape our lives, and we are determined to seize those opportunities for Britain.
Liz Kendall, Secretary of State, thanks very much indeed for coming in with us. And it'd be great, I'm sure viewers will want, when you make your decisions about social media, if you come back and explain those. Back like a shot. There's a commitment. Thanks very much indeed, Liz Kendall.
Fucking hell, Cussenberg. That was pissity wank paw, if you want my 2 cents. Where's the thing? Oh, I've not put it in. Let's do it live. There you go. Do politics, me. Very poor from Cussenberg. Very softly. Alright, just give my brain a moment or two to recover from Cussenberg and Kendall. Sounds like a shit detective show, doesn't it? Next time on Cussenberg and Kendall. What did you make of that? Let us know in chat, people. Thanks for your comments as we've been going through. Sorry, our YouTube studios run a bit slow this evening. Hope everything's coming through clear for you there. Graham Turner just jumping in the chat. Solidarity. Happy Socialist Sunday, brother. Nice to see you. Thanks for the Palestine flag as well. So here are a couple of things that apparently, despite her huge fat salary that Laura Cussenberg couldn't get her hands on, showed you a few examples on the last live stream as well, where Starmer even said in Parliament that he was involved in the vetting procedure. They also probably overlooked, as there weren't very many people sitting in this session at this point, but Rachel Gilmore brought this up as far back as September last year. So let's hear from MP Rachel Gilmore as a reminder of Starmer's complicity.
As if not already bad enough, this murky affair has been thickened by the fact that a source from MI6 has reportedly claimed that they failed to clear Mandelson and warned that his links to the man I still refuse to name would, quote, compromise him. Downing Street pressed ahead with the appointment anyway.
Downing Street pressed ahead with the appointment anyway. Obviously, of course, via protocol, MI6 would have informed Downing Street immediately, and Downing Street and Keir Starmer pressed ahead with that nonetheless, and that was back in September of 2025 last year. So that's the latest exhibit to add to the pile. There's also this from Ollie Robbins, who was brought up a few times in the Cussenberg interview there. And he's going to be appearing in front of a committee tomorrow, as well as Starmer's appearance in the Commons, which, if you've ever seen anybody sprawl on the head of a pin, check that out tomorrow, because Keith's going for the world record. But here's Ollie Robbins again, reinforcing Starmer's pre-knowledge of all this.
Did the FCDO have a different view about who should be recommended for the...
One moment, people. Just got to monitor this myself. Can't hear. If I can't hear, can't add commentary, other than to say those water bottles look pleasant.
Posting?
By the time we're describing, it was clear that the Prime Minister wanted to make this appointment himself and had...
So straight from the get-go, he did it himself. It was all Keith.
Therefore, I understand that...
This is, as a reminder, the civil servant, the senior civil servant, who's been thrown under the bus over this. Will Lammy follow? Please do share your thoughts in the poll as to whether Starmer will resign next week. Say you aye, say you nay without consequence, or nay with David Lammy being thrown under the bus as well. Currently, 62% of you thinking that he won't resign without consequence either. We'll see how that develops further into the stream. Thanks for your votes.
The FCDO was informed of his decision and acted upon it, and via the Foreign
This is very damning, Keith.
sought and obtained the King's approval for the appointment. But we were in this particular...
Can you imagine how that went down as well? So the King has to sign in its procedural matter, of course, having to turn up at Buckingham Palace and, well, these guys who are sort of mates with, well, it's your brother, actually. Bit awkward. And, all of that despicable business that your brother's been involved with. Well, will you sign off, will you sign off Mandelson? Oh, sorry. I forgot, so. Your Highness, Your Majesty, Your Grace. Whatever. Fucking hell. Just, what a sordid circle it all is.
The case, as Chris has explained, the Prime Minister took advice and then formed a view himself, and we then acted on that view.
Keith himself.
Just so we're clear, the due diligence report that was produced by the Cabinet Office goes to the appointing minister, in this case, it's the Prime Minister. So the Prime Minister received that report, which should have contained all of the information pertaining to Lord Malleson's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
Absolutely.
According to your own submission to PACAC, which is that it included reference to his prior relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. So the Prime Minister got a report that outlined that relationship, and as the appointing minister, he then makes the decision on whether or not this person is suitable for that appointment based on that report.
I'll answer in the general rather than the specifics of the case. I've set out in my letter exactly what the due diligence report covers. The process then for any direct ministerial appointment would be that is shared with the appointing minister, and they take the decision. Just to correct something that was said earlier.
I appreciate you talking in the general, but just to the specifics, your own letter to PACAC says that the due diligence report included reference to his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes, that's the bit I read out.
And you also confirmed that the report goes to the appointing minister, who in this case is the Prime Minister. So
and a section of internet searches which summarises news reporting available at the time.
Yeah. Who would that have been speaking there? What's her face?
So
exactly
even
as
if we're
set
talking
out
in the
in my
generals,
letter.
in the specific in this case, the Prime Minister did receive a report that highlighted that relationship, and it was up to him to make a decision based on the information.
For a direct ministerial appointment, that is the process.
So that is it. Yeah. And again, that comes from a previous committee over knowledge about Mandelson's involvement with Epstein, of course. Further incrimination for Keith. Laura Kussenberg didn't know that that session had existed. Which is why you're in the right place here on My Left Eye and the Sunday live stream. Of course, our humble 6,000 subscribers compared to the reach of the BBC, still being somewhat more accurate in the factual reporting. Okay, sticking with UK matters. There was, unfortunately, a far-right march demonstration in Manchester yesterday. There was, however, a magnificent turnout and counter-anti-fascist protest. We'll take a look at this, as well as I said earlier, apparently two completely different methods of policing, which are highlighted by the canary in these two clips. And as I said before, quite shameful that this far-right march took place very close to the Peterloo massacre itself. Well, let's see some footage from the Canary. Of course, highly recommend following the Canary as alternative news media. Sorry if you can't make out the lettering, so that the top is the far-right demonstration, where they're not halted at all. In fact, the police are pushing people away from them. On the contrary, counter-demonstrations stopped with horses, as you can see, and we'll give a wider analysis of the bottom portion after this clip, just so that you can see. So it says at the top, Manchester police with far-right protesters calling for the deportation of anyone who is not white, and at the bottom, Manchester police with anti-racist protesters. A lot of shoving, a lot of
I just got pepper sprayed in Manchester by police.
Someone even being pepper sprayed, that you saw at the end. This again is from the Canary. This is the full video of what you saw at the bottom there. For anybody who's familiar with Manchester, this appears to be Whittle Street. That is roughly just before the intersection with, I think it'll be Princess Street. I'm not sure. It looks like it's somewhere near there. Oh, not Whitworth. No, sorry. Yeah, Princess Street would be up to the top there. It's still at the intersection with Princess Street, just not Whitworth Street. Sorry, I'm getting distracted as a Mancunian with the granular bits of location.
Just go away, go away. Yeah, I would get out of the way, miss.
It's Princess Stream. There's not a great deal of people there at the moment. You have to say the use of horses to try and intimidate a line of people, which is barely too deep, I think is a little excessive, wouldn't you say? And then pushing people away from the horse. Don't see any horses on the other side there, do you? See some of the old facial recognition going on there as well with the cameras. Going into a gallop and charging the horses. For the far right, it's all softly, softly, is it? What's all that about? This is Manchester. We're not supposed to be so welcoming to the far right and have never been historically and never will. Fortunately, more counter-protesters did show up. The far right will always have a shitload of flags to try and make smaller crowds look bigger, that kind of thing. So well done to the Canary. Shout out to the Canary once again. And if you went down there to stand against the far right, please do share your experiences with us in live chats or in the comments if you watch back later. Just for now, though, very open and obvious grift from Tommy 10 Names himself. Stephen Yaxley Lennon has made this appeal on video to try and flog advertising space. Take a look at this. It's really quite pathetic. I mean, what sort of companies are going to go for this? We'll see, but this is his pitch. This is Yaxley Lennon's latest grift. Take a look at this, people.
Right, here's an opportunity that I can't believe people haven't snapped up, and we need you to snap it up because we need to put on a larger, bigger, more successful event than the 13th of September. That is advertisement. We had 66 million people watched our last event in September. That's just on our stream. Then we had 150 live streamers who are videoing every second of it as well. You have the opportunity to reach those people with your branding. Remember, we've shifted. People didn't used to want to stand with us. Now we have politicians, we have celebrities, we have all different people. There's been a mass shift. It's now acceptable. Cancel culture has been defeated.
Cancel culture has been defeated, has it? Really? Okay. Cancel culture. A lot of bollocks. You get the super motivational music in the background as well.
In this arena, okay? So I'm asking you, please, if you want to advertise your business, you can go on the live stream the whole time.
He's got a coke habit to fund and holidays to go on, you know.
At the bottom of our screen. So whether we had 1 million people like we had last time watching live, but then all the follow-on views, which I said last time went to 66 million. We'll be doing interviews. You can have your branding behind the people as they're being interviewed. You can have your branding on the stage, across the top of the stage, down the side of the stage. There are many different options for you to reach what is the largest audience in one video out of our country last year. Right.
Oh, God. Fucking hell. What an absolute prostitute. Fucking hell. That was poor. That was poor. Come ye, scumbag advertisers. Whilst they're spreading hate in London next time, you can have your logo, your company's logo. God, who's gonna... We'll see if anybody does go for it, hopefully not. What an absolute grift. What a tosser. What an absolute prostitute. JK's with us on chat, yeah, going back to what we saw in Manchester. More damning evidence for the Met. We were in London, of course, last weekend. We'd defend our juries, and we saw this time here in Manchester. Wasn't there myself, but there is going to be exclusive footage of other protests in the capital coming up very soon. Just over a week's time. Keep an eye out for that, and then of course, the week after, we'll be warming up for the locals. Don't think the events of this week will have helped Labour's chances very much. The word on the street is that they could lose over 2,000 seats. What do you think about that, people? I, for one, wouldn't be surprised. Right, we'll move a bit more into international goings-on now. Middle East affairs, ceasefires, not ceasefires, reopenings of straits that aren't reopenings. We'll kick off though with something a bit light-hearted. Again, I have to say that this is AI. But it's a pretty entertaining one. It's a kind of a mashup from Mr. Nurburger's AI Funnies. And for anybody who's familiar with the film that came out last year, the Nuremberg film, yeah, it's kind of their take on that, only with a different defendant. Yeah, somebody else in the dock on trial. So enjoy this one. It's a bit of a longer one, but I'm sure you'll enjoy it nonetheless. So I'm just going to quickly top up my drink as well. Link in the description. Of course, do go and subscribe to Mr. Nurburger's AI Funnies.
Justice Davis? They captured President Trump at the airport. What are they going to do with him?
You're standing inside a highly secure federal prison. It houses what's left of the Donald Trump regime.
Make America great again.
Never do that in my prison again.
Governments from around the world are all joining our United States to put these men on trial for their lives.
It can't be done. There is no precedent for convicting a U.S. president, especially when he got the Supreme Court to say he could do whatever he wants. He and his people will just pardon themselves.
The world needs to know what these men did, and not the baloney that Fox News said they did, the actual things they did.
Central Command says you're some kind of hotshot head shrinker. You will inspect and ensure the prisoner's mental health. The one you'll have to watch the closest is Trump.
He was a businessman who hosted The Apprentice. He served as president for 2 terms, the second one incomplete. Dude, I know who Donald Trump is. He's highly unintelligent, off-putting, and a narcissist. He also needs a diaper change. Mr. Trump.
I'm gonna beat all the charges.
You're very sure of yourself.
Nobody has ever beaten me. Ever.
What about the popular vote in both 2016 and 2020, the 2020 election, your legal challenges to the 2020 election, the Trump University settlement, and the Primetime Emmys?
Get out.
You want to know why it happened here? Because people thought he was funny with his racism. They liked him blaming others for their problems. And the idea of a buffoon ruining uptight liberal serious government attracted them, like that Asian kid who butchered Ricky Martin's She Bangs on American Idol. So they kept voting for him. Oh, and the black president thing really pissed them off. Then they couldn't stop what they'd look stupid.
You're Jewish, for crying out loud! Don't be a Nazi! Anything less than total victory will be considered total defeat. Need I remind you of Robert Mueller? May his memory be a blessing. Jack Smith, Letitia James, Fannie Willis. You have to be flawless! Just f***ing do this already! I'm gonna put Donald Trump on the stand and make him tell the whole world what he did.
How are you going to defend yourself?
I'm gonna weave, what do you think? I'll start with my recent golf match with Tiger Woods, who, by the way, is innocent, and then move on to my hatred for windmills.
Why not just tell the truth?
I am only a prisoner because you guys finally got me on the Epstein hoax, which I really did. And not because you are better than me, as you are suckers and losers, and I am a winner who wins!
I know more about Donald Trump than anyone on the planet. I have hundreds of AI funnies to prove it, and he is going to make mincemeat out of you unless you ask him in a way that makes him want to brag to you about what he did.
You may question the defense. Did you send ICE agents into American cities to detain people without warrants?
That was Kristi Noem.
After receiving reports those agents were detaining U.S. citizens, did you allow the operations to continue?
You will have to ask Kristi Noem. She will know.
No.
Did those warrantless arrests result in the death of not one, but 2 U.S. citizens?
That was Stephen Miller.
Did you separate children from their parents at the border?
That was Stephen Miller.
After being told children were being held in facilities without their parents, did you allow that policy to continue?
Again, talk to Stephen.
Did the U.S. strike a girls' school in Iran?
You're going to have to ask Pete Hegseth.
After being briefed on civilian casualties, did you take any action to stop further strikes?
You're really going to have to ask Pete Hegseth.
Did anti-vaccine messaging spread during a measles outbreak under your administration?
You're going to have to ask Bobby.
After public health officials warned of rising measles cases, did you take action to counter that messaging?
Listen, I surround myself with losers so I don't look bad.
Did the Department of Justice prosecute your political opponents?
That was Pam Bondi's call.
After being informed those prosecutions targeted political opponents, did you intervene?
That was Pam Bondi, not me.
Did you appoint all of these people?
Yes.
And after you were informed of each of these actions by these so-called subordinates, you allowed them to continue, resulting in death, in destruction, acts this court will consider crimes against humanity.
I didn't do any of those things. It was all my people who did them, not me.
You have sat here disclaiming responsibility, abandoning moral authority, and passing the buck to others. Well, sir, the buck stops here.
By the way, getting all those people to do what you say sure takes leadership.
It sure does. Nobody can do what I do. When I want something, I just take it. I tell them what to do and they do it. My orders mean a lot to these folks. All of them follow them to the letter.
Yes, they sure do.
Wait a minute. This is not over. I didn't mean what I said. I will say something else instead. You can't prosecute me. I am invincible.
Never again means never again. No matter who the victims are. Have a nice day in hell.
It was Joe Biden's fault.
I really hate that sad loser, Mr. Neuberger.
Who, me?
Mr. Neuberger's AI Funnies. Neuberger, Nuremberg. Yeah. Link in the description if you want to go and subscribe, check out some more similar content. Alright, let's see what the latest is. Coming in on the reclosure. Not that it was really open in the first place. Supposed negotiations that are going on. And if they do involve J.D. Vance. You can't be too optimistic. Not that you ever can. So I'll just... Spring. The latest is apparently the US intercepted and seized an Iranian-flagged cargo ship. They're trying to get past that, well, that's what they say. They also say the ship was given fair warning to stop in the Gulf of Oman, but refused. So the Navy stopped them. Right in, this is their words. Stop them right in their tracks by blowing a hole in the engine room. That's what Trump says. So negotiations apparently in Pakistan tomorrow. Let's just see what BBC Verify got to say about this ship. Based on AIS data, the Tuska was 40 nautical miles from the port of Shabar in southeast Iran at around 1 PM today, before stopping, turning back, drifting slightly east, and then coming to a halt. It doesn't really give any confirmation of a strike, though. The Iranian ambassador to Pakistan has posted on social media saying, "You cannot keep violating the international law, doubling down on your blockade, threatening Iran with further war crimes, insist on unreasonable demands, pace out with rhetoric and pretend to be pursuing diplomacy." He adds that as long as the naval blockade remains, fault lines also remain. So this came in a couple of hours ago. Only 2 cruise ships have been allowed to pass through. God, Javier Milei and Netanyahu there. So don't hold your breath on anything coming from any ceasefire talks tomorrow. After this, of course, Iran have said several times in the past that both America and Israel aren't worth their word. They don't trust any promises that might be made in ceasefire negotiations. You can hardly blame them. So Vance, Witkoff and Kushner are going to be going back to Pakistan again for more talks. Well, we all saw how that turned out last time, which wasn't very long ago. Apparently he has a very simple proposal, that's how he puts it. The proposal will be give up and give us all of your nuclear material, blah blah blah, same as last time, I guess. So off he goes again, the poison chalice himself. Plants McGee, thanks for the super chat there. Excellent reminder as well. If you are going to register to vote, you have just 25 hours left. That is pretty important. Thanks again for that super chat. Let's big up Plants McGee in the chat. There's a bit of a timeline there. I won't go through all of that. That seems to be more or less the latest. But yeah. Come negotiate with us or we keep blowing up your ships. Isn't exactly the best way to go about things, if you'd like my diplomatic advice. Not certain if JD Vance himself does watch the Sunday live stream on my left eye, but if you do, JD, I say wholeheartedly from myself and the entire team here, why don't you go fuck yourself? Sorry for the F-bomb. I said as well we'd take a look at some of the bias reporting on this, which has happened here in the UK again, unfortunately. This has come to the attention of Jimmy Dore as well, who I know a lot of you will already be familiar with in the States. And he's going to share a couple of examples here of BBC. Well, would you be hyperbolic in calling it propaganda? These days, perhaps not. But where the US and Israel's illegal attacks on Iran are concerned, here's some further exhibits from Jimmy Dore.
We spoke to the man making viral Lego-style AI videos for Iran. Experts say it's powerful propaganda.
Hey, AI's taking the propaganda jobs.
So let's just so you know, BBC is a propaganda outlet, and here's a perfect example. Okay, they call Iran's government a regime. They call the Israelis' government a government. So now you see. Okay, so let's do some.
And you'll never ever hear Israeli regime or American regime ever go through every single BBC article you'll find about this, and it will not appear once.
We'll get more into this. Hang on a second. Here is the story. So just listen to this story from the BBC. And you'll see how it's pure propaganda. At first glance, they look like they could be scenes out of a Lego movie, although more vivid and fast-paced. But these viral AI videos, inspired by the instantly recognizable Lego aesthetic, feature a dying children, fighter jets, and U.S. President Donald Trump, and are, in fact, pro-Iran propaganda, unlike this article, which is pro-war propaganda, pro-Israeli, pro-Zionist propaganda.
You're saying pro-Iran like that one IDF settler's face is pro-Iran propaganda.
That's right, yes.
It sounds as though, they might just be a little bit sore about these Lego videos, beating them to the punch, or being more accurate, maybe, in how they display how things are going. But, yeah. Regime. You'll hear it 1,000 times a day on the Beeb. Just not pertaining to all of the correct people. Another super chat coming in there from Plants McGee. Thanks a lot for that one. Yeah, we'll keep you up to speed with the latest on the seizure, apparent seizure, claimed, of an Iranian ship. Yeah, we technically live in a theocracy, of course, in Britain. Would you consider that extreme? An extreme regime? And all we did was, you know, hold the world to the barrel of a gun for a couple of 100 years. Up next, some excellent actual grilling in real time to a US spokes, this time on the matter of double standards, hypocrisy, so on and so forth, outright illegality of Israel's nuclear arsenal. As we know, they do have hundreds of nukes. They're the only state in the Middle East that has nuclear weapons, but they haven't, of course, signed the non-proliferation treaty. That is, countries agreeing not to fire on each other to sort of prevent, you know, global destruction via nuclear fallout. It's just, you know, one of these things that could happen. But they refuse to sign it. America, this is, of course, an uncomfortable subject for US politicians, but this reporter, who unfortunately I don't know the name of, so I can't credit, does a really good job. Run it to this US spokes. Let's see what's happening, people.
Recently come to light an exchange between Jeffrey Leeds and former Secretary of State Colin Powell, in which he acknowledges that Israel has, quote, he says 200 nuclear weapons. And the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty has not been signed by Israel. Under U.S. law, the United States should cut off support to Israel because it's a nuclear power that has not signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, according to Colin Powell. Correct?
Shouldn't you ask Colin Powell that? I'm not going to speak to
no, it's still the law. Just because Colin Powell, who served under the Bush administration, is no longer in office doesn't mean that the law doesn't apply. Shouldn't you go and ask Colin Powell about the law? Isn't it your job to know the law about things like this? Go and ask Colin Powell.
This particular traffic, and I'm certainly
So
not
you're saying
going to
Israel
discuss.
doesn't have nuclear weapons?
I'm certainly not going to discuss matters of intelligence from the podium. I'm not. I have no comment on that.
Okay, well, the email says the boys in Tehran know Israel has 200, all we targeted on Tehran, and we have thousands. I mean, that seems to indicate that there's a knowledge of an Israeli nuclear program, which would make U.S. aid to Israel illegal.
I think I've answered your question.
Okay.
No. Wow. Look at this soulless response going on as well. I think I've answered your question. What, go and ask Colin Powell? But he's directly referred, of course, to the email, which shows that they do know about Israel's 200 nukes. This is weak. This is lame.
Let me ask: is that do I have the correct understanding of U.S. law that we're not allowed to support a nuclear power that has not signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty?
No,
we
not.
obviously support the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty.
What do you mean, obviously? Obviously. Did you not hear anything he said? You've got over 200.
I'm not a legal expert on all the tenets of it, and I'm certainly not going to speak about the details that you've revealed here in this email traffic. That would be inappropriate for me to discuss one way or the other. I'm not going to do it.
There are sanctions imposed on North Korea in response to their nuclear proliferation. There were sanctions put on Iran in response to allegations of nuclear proliferation. And now we have this email from Colin Powell saying that Israel has 200 nuclear weapons. Why is Israel not facing any consequence for this?
That's a very colorful way of getting back to the same question you just asked me. But I'm going to refer you back to the transcript when you see it this afternoon to what I said before to your question. Saeed?
You're familiar with this email, right?
I'm not.
Oh.
I have not seen it. I can't speak to the email, and frankly, even if I'd seen it, sir, I wouldn't engage in that kind of a discussion from the podium.
Well, how's about that? Incredible. Yeah, something's really got to be done. It's terrifying. It's terrifying that maniacs like Netanyahu and Trump, of course, the nuclear codes. And the entire world needs to disarm. Yeah, only a psych would use a nuclear weapon. Mutually assured destruction, of course, Graham. They go, we go, and you go. Right. Come round once again. The time to thank everybody on the members roster. Thanks for your contributions on stream as well. Really appreciate those. Hit the perks button if you want to find out more about joining this list of people. Just a fraction of the price of a tasty hot beverage. And yeah, as we mentioned earlier, getting really close now to the 6k mark, so keep sharing content and all that business. Hit the appropriate buttons. Much appreciated as always. I see some new names on the members list as well. So please do let us know what you think about the content if you're new to the channel. Or that is the members only content. More of that to come very soon as well. Thanks again, good people. A reminder, if you're watching on mobile device as well, check out some content, hit thumbs up, and please do gift us some of your hype points. It's completely free. Your quota of hype points renews every week, so please do consider using some of your quota on my left eye. So this could be the final visit into the Fondue Lounge, who knows? We'll see what you think about whether that'll happen with the latest on the poll, after I just set up a raid as we come towards the end of proceedings. But do stick around, people. There's plenty of other socialist content around on Sundays usually. Let's see who's live. We will when YouTube Studio decides to work. Apologies once again, it's just been a bit slow this eve. I will get that sorted, so if you've not voted yet in the poll, please get your final votes in. Just refresh this here, it'll only take a moment. Comrades here in chat as well. Solidarity. Will just be another moment whilst I wait for the video to refresh. Sorry about the brief delay. As we stick around, we will go into the lounge though. Guess at this point what could be the final portion of Fondue. Who knows? And yeah, I'll do the poll result. Would be strange, wouldn't it, if we do come to doing the Sunday live stream without the Fondue Lounge? I believe, because we've been live streaming for about 2 years now, I think. I believe that it's been a feature on Sundays since the very, very early days, if not since the very beginning. Right, okay. So it looks as though it's a pretty definitive result in the poll. Just finished that now, so most of you thinking that Starmer won't resign without consequence, without further sackings, certainly not the sacking of David Lammy. But 29% of you think that Lammy is going to be thrown under the bus, with 18% of you thinking that he will resign next week. Prime Minister resigning just before the local elections. Who knows? In these crazy times anything could happen. He certainly hasn't got a leg to stand on, so he really should buy rights. It's all a matter of hubris now. We'll know by this time next week. As we'll know whether we'll be having some more fondue. And it's the man to his right that's brought him down, as we said all along. In fact, the creation of this excellent scene by the Agitator demonstrates just how we told you so. So eat hearty. That is to say, even if he does resign, might not even be with immediate effect. Okay, we've finally got the studio working again. There we go. So we can see who we're going to raid into, or the selection. We have, well, as mentioned previously, with further analysis of the Laura Kussenberg show. We have Kevin Logan and Eleanor No Justice, respectively. But we're going to dive into Kevin Logan, I believe. Okay, yeah, that's locked in. I'll join you over there for a brief while. I'll certainly hit the thumbs up button, and so will you. Yeah, do subscribe if you don't know the channel already. Great socialist content that we're going to dive into. Yes, Comrie. It was a case of, hello, we must be going. Feel free to skip back and watch from the start. You can always catch up later. We'll be back with more live streams next week, of course, with the brews at 10. Hit the notification button so you don't miss out, people. Okay, so that'll just about wrap it up. All that remains for me to say is thank you very much for watching. I've been your humble host, Lefty. This has been the Sunday live stream on My Left Eye. Power to the people, free Palestine, Lebanon, Sudan and Yemen. Don't let the bastards grind you down, don't watch the news, be the news. And My Left Eye, I'll be seeing you soon. Good night.
It's what Hitler and Goering did, and it is textbook. And if you think the next time it happens, we're gonna recognize it because they're wearing scary uniforms, you're out of your damn mind.